Hi everyone, Rich Berliner from Digital Occasions, here with some news of the week. Train Wi-Fi can be terrible. Operators are looking high and low for solutions. Patchy coverage and unreliable connections have led some rail services to make upgrades and take advantage of 5G, while others are considering the benefits satellite networks like Starlink could offer. Internet access on trains can be notoriously bad, but train operators say hope could be around the bend. That hope comes in the form of growing cellular coverage and 5G networks, which can power better and faster onboard Wi-Fi, operators say. But for some, it also comes in the form of growing industry low Earth satellite providers, such as Elon Musk's Starlink, as these train operators contend with limitations of the nation's current telecommunications infrastructure. They say satellite options, though it offers compelling benefits with capacity to address a major source of passenger frustrations, has its own challenges. Quote, "Our perspective on this was, why the hell not?" said Kevin T. McAuliffe, Chief Technology and Digital Innovation Officer at Brightline, the Florida-based train company. In May completed its installation of Starlink connections on its 10-train fleet for all its routes. Historically, train operators have typically relied on nearby cellular towers to deliver Wi-Fi to passengers. Doing so has proved troublesome because cell towers are sometimes sparse along train routes, and the signal is forced to jump from tower to tower, which causes delays, operators say. The age of the cell tower and onboard hardware, as well as the number of passengers trying to access the connections, can also cause slowdowns, they say. Providers like AT&T said they are increasing their coverage areas and deploying more 5G in a bid to enhance connections. Amtrak, for example, said it is currently upgrading its onboard hardware to take advantage of those 5G connections, which can help reduce some of these issues. But operators are also eyeing the potential of high-speed internet connections provided via a new generation of satellites, orbiting relatively close to Earth. Satellites have the advantage of much wider coverage areas. One satellite can cover several states, for example, whereas one cell tower covers about a square mile, reducing the need to jump between connection points and offering more consistent, reliable coverage, even in remote areas, said Scott Wisniewski, Chief Strategy Officer at satellite operator AT&T, said it's increasing its coverage area and deploying more 5G, which could enhance connections. Brightline's McAuliffe said he was frustrated over the cost of trying to make upgrades to the company's existing cellular Wi-Fi setup, which essentially included paying to construct more cellular towers. An experience on a cruise with satellite-powered Wi-Fi inspired him to approach Starlink. McAuliffe said the Starlink connection has been a marked improvement over the company's previous cellular-only connection, with bandwidth usage going up significantly. The number of complaints about the Wi-Fi has decreased, he said, and the cellular infrastructure still exists as a backup. Brightline is paying less for Starlink than it did for previous Wi-Fi setup with cellular, McAuliffe said. But for others, questions remain. This is still sort of a new and emerging thing, such that there's some level of prove to me you can actually do this, in quotations, said Andy Kessler, Vice President of Enterprise and Land Mobile at Viasat, which provides satellite connections to more than 60 airlines globally. Viasat is currently in conversations with train operators worldwide. Satellite communications company Viasat is in conversation with train operators all over the world. The satellite options comes with its own set of challenges. Wi-Fi connection can potentially be blocked by anything that impedes the antenna's line of sight, such as trees and urban canyons, and satellite internet services typically support fewer users at a slower speed than cellular when it's working well, Wisniewski said. At the same time, cellular providers are working to augment their coverage options. Part of the problem with cellular coverage is that cellular towers typically cluster around densely populated areas or around highways. So depending on the train's route, Finding a connection can be a challenge sometimes, and Amtrak spokesperson Mark Magliari said. Given the paucity of cell towers, Amtrak doesn't even offer Wi-Fi on its western U.S. routes, he said. Amtrak serves more than 500 destinations along more than 21,400 miles across the U.S. and Canada. Additionally, when connection is sparse, the onboard hardware can prioritize what applications remain connected. Good news for operational safety sensors, but bad news for passengers streaming Netflix, said William Eberl, Assistant Vice President, AT&T Business. On Amtrak trains that offer an internet service, Zoom chats and movie watching is typically restricted, owing to the bandwidth constraints, according to the company's Wi-Fi terms of service. AT&T and Verizon both said they are working to build out their networks. Amtrak said it's upgrading its onboard hardware to take advantage of 5G connections. AT&T's Eberl said the company has been working with the government since 2017 on a project called FirstNet so that it can provide coverage to emergency services in remote areas. Trains will also benefit from this, he said. Verizon's Vice President of Public Sector Technology, George Riggins, said train operators also have the option of purchasing millimeter antennas that are essentially designed to function as miniature cell towers, and specifically alongside the tracks. And this could be part of the solution. Both carriers also said they're investing in more 5G, something Magliari said will certainly benefit Amtrak. There's more cellular signal out there than there was, he said, but noted that it doesn't always follow the tracks. Amtrak in July put out an open call to procure contractors for a new data communications platform, including a new Wi-Fi system. Magliari said Amtrak would certainly consider satellite, among other options. It expects to start evaluating submissions in the coming months. We're asking the market what they would suggest, he said, adding that much like trains themselves, technology keeps moving. Thank you to Dow Jones and Company for that news report. This is Rich Berliner from Digital Locations. Thanks for watching.